Hi friends, my name is James Hardy. I'm going to be teaching a gentle power class today. And I'm coming at you from 21st Yoga in Salt Lake City, Utah. So the focus for today's class is really going to be on letting your breath be your guide for your practice. Props you'll need. I do have a block. If you got one at home, awesome. Just set it down to the side. And if you don't have one, no worries, you'll be just fine. We're going to start today's class out in a seated position. So when you're ready, just come down, find yourself on your sit bones. If this is not comfortable for you, you can come onto your back as well, just whatever feels best. If you're in a cross-legged position, close your eyes and start to find the front edge of your sit bones. So you can pull the flesh away or walk back for a moment. And then with that base in the pelvis, just relax your hands to your legs. And on an inhale, roll your shoulder heads up towards your ears. And as you exhale, just roll the shoulders down away from the ears and the back. And let's take that a couple more times. So on the inhale, again, just rolling the shoulder heads up high, lengthening spine. Exhale, release them down away from the ears and the back. One last time. Inhale to bring your shoulder heads up. Exhale, relax them down. Awesome. We'll warm our breath up with Dirga Swasam Pranayama. This is a 3-part breath. So join me just by releasing your air all the way down to empty. From the bottom, breathe into the low belly for 1, 2, 3, and hold. Breathe into your mid-abdomen, 1, 2, 3, and hold. Fill all the way to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Once you've got your full breath, relax. And then a slow exhale out the top. Release through the middle. And at the bottom, just let your navel tone back in towards your spine and empty. We'll do this one more time. From the bottom, breathe into the low belly, low back. 2, 3, and hold. Take the air into your mid-abdomen, your mid-back. 1, 2, 3, hold. Fill all the way up to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Once you've got the full breath, relax. And then again, exhale, release out the top. Let go through the middle. And at the bottom, let your navel gently tone back in towards your spine, getting all the way down to empty. From here, Oje Pranayama. So deep inhale through the nose. This is like a slow motion gasp for air, filling all the way up to the top. And then with the exhales, releasing out through the nose as if you're fogging up a mirror and controlling the release all the way down to empty. So as you focus on these deep, slow inhales and then these nice, long exhales, this is what I'm talking about letting your breath be the guide for your practice. Right now, just by engaging this breath, you are taking the activity of your mind, which is maybe worrying about what happened yesterday, or focusing on the events of today, or planning into the future, and you're drawing your mind into the present moment, into the present experience, into your body. So this is the mind-body connection that we get to work on through the class. As always, just take what works for me and leave the rest behind. Let's bring the eyes open to a soft gaze up front. And on your inhale, stretch and reach your arms up tall and wide. And on the exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center. Awesome again. Inhale, lengthen your arms wide, reach tall. And on the exhale, draw hands down into your heart. Awesome, friends. We'll make our way forward into a tabletop position. I'm going to turn to the side and give you guys a profile view of this. But once you're at your tabletop, go ahead and turn both of your wrists towards the front of the room. Your palms are down, your fingers are pointing backwards, and your thumbs are pointing to the side of the room. And then as you're breathing, just gently lean back, Peeling off back to your fingertips, and then rolling back forward, rooting all the way back down into your palm. We'll take that a couple times, and what we're doing is we're warming up the wrists, warming up the fingers, and then warming up the circle of the palm. Awesome. When you're ready, just take the back of both of your hands down into the mat and just give a gentle massage. This could be side to side or back and forth. And then coming back into hero pose, just take your sit bones back towards your heels and take a little roll out through your wrist. Move into your fingers. Just that work that we did, just incorporating that work now. Excellent. When you're ready, come back into your tabletop position, and then we're going to start to work into cat and cow. This is beautiful for the spine. So on the inhales, you can drop the belly, lift the chest, lift the tailbone up into cow. And on the exhales, round your back into cat, dropping the head, releasing the tailbone down. Think about like a Halloween cat. I'll let you take this over at your own pace, getting to move as slow or as fast as you like. And then one of my favorites is where you start to add some side to side or back and forth movement. And that's your shoulders or your hips. As we're linking the breath and the movements, again, the breath gets to be a guide for you on how to move. So deep, slow movement guided by that controlled breath. Excellent, friends. Out of our cat and cow, we're going to start to work to the top of our first plank. So a couple different options. You can either come right into it with your knees lifted off the mat, you're on your toes, palms are directly underneath your shoulders, or if you'd like, you could also take this plank on your knees. So down on your knees, crossing your ankles in space. To find a little length in your back, you can let the tailbone pull slightly down towards the heels or the knees, lengthening your low back and feel your abdominals lift up and in. Take a breath at the top, and then on your exhale, slowly lower halfway down, leading with the sternum. And then on your inhale, lift back up in space and try to avoid bending at the hips. Awesome, we'll take that 2 more times. So exhale halfway down, leading with the sternum. On the inhale, lift back up to the top. Again, avoid bending the hips. Nice, last one. Exhale, come halfway down. And on the inhale, lift your way back up in space. On this exhale, slowly lower all the way down to your belly. And we'll set up low cobra. So with your chin to the mat, slide your palms a little lower down your torso. Elbows are up in space. Tops of the feet are to the ground. And then squeeze your elbows in towards one another, engaging your shoulders. And then gently lift the chest off the ground. Find length through the back of your neck, so let your chin pull slightly back into your throat. And again, this whole time, working with those inhales, working with those exhales, letting those lead the way. Stay right here, or if you want to take this into Locust Pose, we'll start to lift the thighs off the mat, reaching the legs back, and then take your arms and extend back in space. Maybe a little bit of a bend into your elbows. They're slightly lifting. Shoulder blades are slightly toned in towards one another. And then just working with your breathing. Find one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, we're going to relax the upper body like you're laying out at the beach. Just relax your arms, relax your head. And then bend the knees, pick your feet up in space, and just slowly windshield wiper and circle out your ankles. And it's going to feel great just to do that deep breathing into the floor where you can feel the rise and fall of your breath. We're also getting into the low back here. You're getting into your knee joints and you're getting into your ankles. Fantastic. Lower the legs back down. To make your way to down dog from your belly, you can either do a reverse plank or move through tabletop. We draw the hips backing up in space, and we've got our body right in this A-frame shape. And first thing to do is just to take some time to warm it up. Drop the weight into one heel at a time while your opposite knee bends. So just coaxing out that length through the back of your legs. Letting that breath be right there with you. As we start to hold this downward facing dog, feel that spread out into the circle of your hands. Hands are slightly wider than shoulders distance. Spread out into the fingers, press down to the circle of the palm. Release the weight of the head, and then imagine you've got tennis balls between your ears and your biceps. And your biceps are toning to center line, holding those tennis balls in. Draw the hips back up high, and then gently pull your heels down towards the earth. Breathe into that length, that strength around the spine. Breathe into that length we're creating in the back of the legs. Take one more inhale right here, and on your exhale, bend the knees, and we're going to step up to a forward fold at the top of the mat. As you arrive, a half lift. So on the inhale, you can slide your hands either to your shins or to your thighs. And then we're going to hold this first one for a couple rounds of breath. And we're eliminating any rounding in our low back, so drawing length out of the low back. Knees are slightly bent, you're pressing into the legs, and then your core gets to wrap around your low back. And for your upper back, your shoulder blades get to gently tone in. Think about there's a pencil between them you're trying to hold in. Gaze down to the earth, chin slightly to throat, crown of the head reaching forward, staying with that breath. Awesome, one more inhale right here. Your next exhale, refold. Then turn back to face you guys. We'll take the feet out right at about hip bone distance, maybe a little bit wider. And then hook opposite hand to opposite elbow or bicep for a ragdoll frame. Release the weight of the head, maybe a little nod yes or nod no. And you can take a gentle sway side to side, or let your body shift a little back and forth in space. Use those exhales to let your body relax a little bit deeper into this, creating that length in the spine. Breathing into that length in the back of the legs. Awesome, friends. Release the arms out of the bind. You can keep your feet at hip bone distance, or you can walk your big toes to touch with some space between your heels. Keeping your head heavy, keeping your arms heavy. Vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly wind up to standing. Your head will be the very last thing to stack up. And when it stacks up, inhale to reach your arms up tall in space. And on the exhale, let's bring the hands down into the heart center, right in front of the chest. On your inhale, just reach up into mountain. Interlace your pointer fingers to a steeple. And on your exhale, we'll take it over to the right as your hips shift to the left. Find some press down into the floor. Reach the hips out to the side, extend out through your arms. Beautiful breathing. On the inhale, lift back up tall in space. And as you exhale, switch your sides out. Now over the left, hips shift over the right, root down into the ground. Breathing that length into your outer side body, using the strength of your inner side body. Awesome. On the inhale, reach back up tall, release the steeple grip, and as you exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive all the way down into the forward fold. Release the head at the bottom. We'll inhale halfway up, lengthening through the spine, strengthening through the shoulder blades. On the exhale, refold. And then a reverse swan dive. So pressing to the ground, inhale, arms wide and tall. Use that core strength, reach up in space. And on this exhale, cactus your arms, take a baby back bend, lifting through your chest, strengthening shoulder blades. Inhale to reach back up tall. And on the exhale, we're going to come down into chair pose. I'm going to turn to a profile view for chair. Now you can either have your arms right up in space, close in towards the ears, biceps pulled back, or you could cactus your arms out a little bit wider. We want to feel with the top of our body, the shoulder blades drawn in towards one another, supporting the upper back. Core has your lower back. Feel your glutes inside of this squat engaged and pulling back up away from your knee joints. Find the strength of those thighs wrapping down around the knees. And then as you press down into the ground, strong through the heels, you can feel those calf muscles fired up. So we're lowering into the body engaged, deeply engaged. Take a breath at your chair, and then on your next exhale, we're going to take this into our flying chair, simply lifting the heels off the mat. You're on the balls of the feet, and arms are reaching back. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of that Locust Pose, where chest is slightly lifted. Maybe a little bit of a bend through the elbows. They're reaching up and back. Shoulder blades toned in. Staying with that breath. It's right there with you. Excellent, friends. Plant your heels. Inhale your arms wide and tall into mountain. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips and control your swan dive down into your forward fold. We inhale halfway up, lengthening through the spine, strengthening through the shoulder blades. And then plant the hands and move back to your plank. Your choice, you can go right to downward facing dog, or on an exhale, lower halfway down, chaturanga dandasana. Press to the tops of both of your feet. Inhale, up dog. You can also do another low cobra. Now, in upward facing dog, we're suspending the body weight on the tops of both of the feet and the hands, and then getting into this beautiful back bend with all the strength around the core, strength through the shoulder blades. Beautiful. When you're ready, just shift the body back into downward facing dog. Again, find that engagement, find that length, find the strength. Use your breath. On an inhale, we'll draw the right leg back up tall in space, so finding a three-legged downward facing dog. And think about, picture, imagine scissor blades opening away from one another. The edges of the blades don't start to face the sides of the room when you separate them. They face the same direction they were when you open them up wider. And with your right leg here, as you pull up and back, let the front of your right hip bone continue to point down and backwards in space. Beautiful. On an exhale, we'll step up for a low lunge position, so right foot up in between your hands. And then from that low lunge, let's bring it up into a high crescent lunge position. First thing I start to think about, that back left heel gently pulling forward, and that's bringing my left thigh forward. As I drive down into my right heel, I find the lower leg, I find the strength of the upper leg, I find the glute pulling up and back. I start to pull the right thigh backwards so my thighs are meeting one another in space, stabilizing. Core engaged, start to lift your arms up in space and feel that strength through your shoulder blades. This can really feel like a nice, beautiful heart opener when you're lifted up and engaged. Excellent, friends. Stay with that breath. Let's draw one more inhale into this high crescent lunge. And on your exhale, warrior two. So knife edge of the left foot to the ground, left arm back, right arm forward. I'm going to take my hands into my hips for a moment, even kind of slide the hands down the low back and set this pose up. So right knee directly above the right heel. Right sit bone is tucked underneath the body. Spine straight up in space. Arms extended wide. And then that same engagement of my thighs back in towards center, and then the individual strength down through both legs, rooting all the way down into the feet. As the arms open up, start to gaze out across your front right fingertips. Shoulder heads release down away from the ears on the back, and finding that beautiful breath. Let's take an inhale into our warrior two, and then with your exhale, extended side angle pose. So hinge forward, you can take your right forearm to your right thigh. You could also take the length of your right arm down the inside of the right leg. So elbows back into knee, back of forearm, inside of calf, and then fingers down inside of ankle. With the top left arm, you could go straight up in space. And I love turning the gaze if my arm's going straight up towards the hand. You also might choose to reach that arm on a diagonal from your back left leg. Watch if that left hip is popping up in space, Drop that left hip down on level with your right hip so we're staying even in the legs. Part of that is just having a nice length from the front of the mat to the back. The other part of that is creating a lift through your inner right side body away from the right thigh. Yep, finding your breath. On your inhale, come back up into our warrior two. Stay strong through the legs. And as you exhale, reverse warrior. So right arm starts to reach straight up in space. I'm still staying down in my lunge. Left hand can be to your hip, sliding down the left thigh, or the wrap back behind you in space. And then as the right arm reaches straight up and I'm pressing into my lunge, we're starting to find that lift away from the right hip crease through the right side body. Gaze might come up in space. You might bend that right elbow back a little bit. Your head might lean slightly back. Left shoulder dipping down away from that back left ear. Awesome breathing, friends. Let's take one more inhale in that reverse warrior. And on your exhale, cartwheel your hands down into a low lunge position, framing the right foot. And then we're going to step back into a plank position. Your choice, you can go right to down dog if you want, or breath at the top, and then exhale halfway down chaturanga. Low cobra or upward facing dog with the in breath. And on the out breath, let's come back into that downward facing dog. We're going to move into the left side, and I'm just going to switch real quick so that I've got my downward facing dog. When I come into it, I'll be facing you guys. Awesome, friends. Take left leg up in space when you're ready. Three-legged down dog. So find that extension of your leg coming all the way up. Think about this diagonal line from your palms all the way through the spine, all the way through the leg, all the way through your heel. Use your breath. Front of your left hip bone, pointing down, pointing back. You're doing awesome. One more breath in right here. And then on the out breath, we'll work the left foot up in between the hands for a low lunge position. Once you're there, high crescent lunge on the rise. So again, first thing I start to think about, that back right heel drawing forward, right thigh pulling forward, left thigh pulling backwards. The strength we create around the left knee, that's the joint in your body that you're loading the weight into. So support it. Push down through your heel. Feel that calf muscle fired up. Feel your left thigh fired up, wrapping around it. Feel your glute pulling back up away from it. And then from that strength, that stability in your lower body, arms can extend up, shoulder heads down away from the ears and the back. Feel the core strong around your low back, shoulder blades slightly toning for the upper spine. Take one more breath in here, and on your exhale, open your body up into that warrior two. So knife edge of that back right foot to the earth. Again, I'm going to draw my hands into hips, kind of in my low back. Thumbs are wrapping around the waist here. And I'm going to feel the spine straight up in space. And feel the left sit bone tucked underneath the body. Left knee right over the left heel. And then I'm finding strength through both of my legs. So we put a lot of focus on the front leg for a reason. You're lunging forward with it. But with that back leg, find the strength down through it, pressing all the way into the knife edge. If you haven't yet, open the arms up. Gaze out across the fingertips. Shoulder heads away from the ears and the back. This is a powerful pose to breathe with, to be with, friends. Your next exhale, our extended side angle pose. So whatever variation you took with your top arm last time, whether you were pressing the left forearm to thigh or reaching length of arm down the inside of leg, same with your backhand. Maybe you're straight up in space, maybe you're on your diagonal. Find your breath, checking with the back hip. If it's lifting up in space, drop it down on level with the front left hip. Feel that lift away from your left thigh with the inner left side body. Find your breathing. You got this. Once you're to the end of your breath, inhale up into our warrior two. Turn your left palm to the sky, and then reversing the warrior on the exhale, so painting the sky with the left arm. You can lift it straight up in space. Right hand can be, again, to hip, low back, or behind you. You're pressing down into the lunge, staying strong through the lower body, lifting through the upper side body, and then you can add that bend into your elbow if you want. Gaze could be up in space, could be forward, side of the room, or even back down towards your back right foot. Find your breath, friends. Again, these are strong, powerful poses to breathe into, to let flow through your body. So do one more inhale on that reverse warrior. And then when your exhale comes, cartwheel the hands down to frame the left foot. Turn onto the ball of the right foot. We're stepping back into a plank. Your choice to go right to down dog, or again, exhale halfway down, leading with the sternum. Press to the tops of the feet. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhale back into your down dog. Couple rounds of breath right here, drawing hips up and back. Finding that lengthened spine, creating that length through the back of legs. Again, you're here to breathe. It's where the breath guides us. It keeps drawing us back into that intention of being present, right here, right now. Excellent, friends. We're going to meet up on our backs. So this is a great time if you want to grab a drink of water. You can grab a drink of water. And then whenever you arrive down onto your back, just bring your knees to your chest, wrap your arms around your knees, and give yourself a little rock side to side. We're going to move into some work for our core muscles. So take that little rock on the back. And I'm going to turn and give you guys a side profile of this one. We're going to do some core exercise work, and we're going to do it from 4 different places. So the first one, you are on your back. Take your legs straight up in space, grab onto your hamstrings, and then lift your chest up so your gaze is forward. From there, release the arms in front of you, and when you're ready, let's start this out. Start to reach forward with your right hand, forward with your left hand. Now, if your neck needs support as you do this, take one hand back behind the base of the skull, or even both hands, but keep that twisting going through your side bodies, and plenty of breath. If Ujjayi breath is not serving you, whatever type of breath you want to get going right here. Take a couple more on each side, and then we're going to hold arms straight up in space. Again, maybe you got a hand back behind the base of the skull. We're flexing through the core, flexing through the abdominal wall, staying with the breathing, legs straight up. On to the last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Friends, full morning stretch. Just relax your head, relax the legs. Lengthen them out in front of you, reach your arms back behind you. Give a little roll out for your wrists, roll out for your ankles. Movement through the toes, through the fingers. Find that deep Ujjayi breathing. Let it work through your abdominal wall here. Right on, then we're on to the next one. So you're going to start with a reverse tabletop. Interlace the hands behind the base of the skull. Lift the head and shoulders off the ground. And then bend your knees at 90 so the bottoms of the feet are pointing forward. Call these ones in, up, and downs. So extend your legs from here out to a diagonal. Keep the low back rooted and pulled into the earth. So you don't want to drop so low that you're arching your low back. Come right above there. And then the movement. Inhale your knees in to reverse tabletop. Exhale your legs straight up, and then lower down onto that diagonal. Again, Ujjayi breathing is great. If you've got another type of breathing you want to use here, feel free to use whatever you want. And the pace of this is totally up to you. So go as slow or as fast as you like. Awesome. Let's find a couple more of these. And then the fun part. So now we're going to hold the legs out on that diagonal. You'll feel those core muscles start to shake. Use your breath to work through it. You're on to your last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time, reclined cobbler's pose. Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined bound angle. Bottoms of the feet together, knees wide. You relax your arms wherever it feels comfortable to you. Find that deep Ujjayi breathing. And then this is a really nice, gentle hip opener, laying down on your back, where as your legs are in the diamond shape, the weight of the knees are gently falling open. And just give a few of those deep rounds of breath. Let it move through you. Let it work through you. Right on. So moving on to the next one. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Grab your hamstrings. And then we're going to rock and roll the length of the spine all the way from the base of the skull to your sit bones. And take that a few times. And then as you come up onto your sit bones, we're going to get ready to do some work from boat pose, Navasana. So take your hands to your hamstrings. And then lift the heels off the mat and lengthen your spine up in space. Let your shoulder blades come in towards one another, shoulder heads down away from the ears in the back. Cross your ankles, and then your movement piece is rowing. So start to twist towards the sides of the room, just like you were in a canoe, rowing down the river, right? Stay with your breath. If you fall out of it, no worries, just come back into it. Try it again. Really let your chest open towards the sides of the room and your back open to the sides of the room as well. Awesome. Do it one more time on each side. And then we get to hold our Navasana, our boat pose. So uncross the ankles. Grab the hamstrings if you want. Reinforce the length in the spine. And then find that support of the shoulder blades back behind you. Knees can stay bent or legs can lengthen. Hands can be behind your hamstrings or arms can open up. Either way, let's get a smile on the face. You're almost there. Stay with your breathing. Nice. Excellent, friends. When you're ready, cross your ankles, come forward, and then we're going to find child's pose as our rest. So from your tabletop, take your knees out wide towards the sides of your mat. Tops of the feet are the earth, big toes draw together, and then your sit bones drop back to your heels. Arms are out in front of you, and then the last piece is the forehead is all the way down to the ground. So stay in that child's pose. I'm going to bring my head upright so you can still hear me while I'm talking. Maybe you find a little bit of pushing and pulling in the child's pose. Maybe you walk your hands out into your fingertips. Elbows might even lift off the ground. Give a gentle drive forward into the mat, lengthening your own spine, pushing your sit bones back towards your heels. After that core work we've been going through, a moment like this reminds me of as a kid when you take the snow globe, you shake it up, and then all that snow is in the air, and you sit and hold it, and you watch it all gently fall down. And that's us right now, inside of child's pose, finding that breath, letting it bring us back to center, back to present moments. Okay, awesome, friends. Last piece we're going to do is from a forearm plank position, and we're going to move into Dolphin Pose. So if you're working with a block today, I'm going to take the block in between my thumbs and my pointer fingers, and the block's just kind of on level 1 right here. Again, you don't need to use a block if you don't want to. But we're going from essentially from a tabletop and then lowering the forearms down to the earth. I'm going to turn to get a side profile here. So once I've got those forearms down to the mat, I want to create the shape number 11. So elbows in this one, they're going to want to spread out wide. You're keeping them hugged in tight, so we got parallel lines. You're into the bellies of your forearms. You're spread out into your palms. From there, let's go back to a forearm plank position. So step the toes to the back of your mat. Lift the hips up on level with your shoulders. And then as you're ready for dolphin, we're just going to take baby steps on the balls of the feet into an A-frame. Similar to down dog, but we're rooted on the forearms. Now, there's a lot of core strength going on here. There's a lot of shoulder strength as well as you lift your sternum back up towards your thighs, draw down through the heels, and then we're trying to let that sacrum just spill forward in space. Both feet stay to the ground, or from here, inhale your right leg up and back in space. And just like that three-legged down dog we did earlier, Think about those scissor blades opening away from one another. Blades still face the same direction. On an exhale, just lower the right foot to the ground. Root into it. And inhale, lefty comes back up tall. Breathe into it. Find that length. You can press out through the heel, press out through the ball of the foot. Use your breathing. On an exhale, left foot comes down. Step back into that forearm plank position, friends. And then from here, we're going to lower into Sphinx Pose. So if you've got a block, slide it out of the way. For Sphinx Pose, we come all the way down to the belly. Tops of the feet are to the ground behind us. And then we're rooted into the forearms. And then just like the statue of the Sphinx, as you press into your forearms, lift up through your chest. Find that length through the back of your neck. Find that deep breathing. And if you want, just turn your chin over your left shoulder, twisting as far as it feels good to you. Your chin's over the left shoulder. As you're ready, twist and take the gaze over the right shoulder. If your chin is twisting over the right shoulder, just bring the head back to center, and then gently let the weight of the head fall forward if you want. Find a little bit of cat in your upper spine, lifting through the shoulders. Breathe into that low back, breathe into your abdominal wall. And then we're going to set up shoulder pigeon. So, coming to face you, we've got that Sphinx position. We're going to start this with our right arm. So just walk your body from Sphinx over to the left side of your mat. Bring your chest all the way down to the ground. And then reach your right arm to the right wall, palm face down. Bring the left hand into the floor at your side. Push into it and roll onto your right side body. You can stack your left foot on the right or plant your left foot to the ground behind the right leg. Left hand or forearm can press anywhere at your side, or you might choose to extend the arm up in space and either drop the hand behind you or take this more into a quadricep stretch where you bend the left knee and then slide the left hand to the top of the left foot and then just gently pull that heel in towards your sit bone. Stay with your breath. Nice, friends. Last couple rounds of breath here. Weight of the head just gets to relax. And as you're ready, just release down. We're going to go on to the other side right away. So come back into the Sphinx. Slide your body now over to the other side of the mat. Chest comes all the way down to the ground. And then extend your arm out opposite where your body just slid. Push it to the ground and roll now onto the side body. Stack the legs or take a foot to the ground behind. Your hand or forearm can press at the side, maybe the head relaxes. Or again, bring the arm up in space, drop it behind you, or find the quadricep stretch on this side. So for the top leg, the knee bends, sit bone comes to heel, and then you just grab onto the top of the foot and gently let the knee draw back in space. Find your full deep breathing right here. There's a sound our Ujjayi breath makes. This hollow wind sound, a sound like ocean waves. And it's super calming just to listen to that sound. Focus on it. Find one more deep inhale right here. And on your exhale, release the leg, turn back onto your stomach, center yourself on your mat. To make your way to down dog, you can either go through a reverse plank or go through tabletop. Draw the hips back up tall in space. You turn back to the side profile here. On an inhale, we'll just reach and extend the right leg back up tall, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, open the hip and bend the knee. So make a scorpion tail with your right leg. Knee lifts tall, toes drape down over the left. And watch that you're not dipping too deep into your left shoulder. Keep it strong. And that your left heel isn't moving over the left side of the mat. It's pointing directly behind you. So just a strong base below you. Breathe in, and on an exhale, we're coming back into that low lunge position. So right foot steps up between the hands. Drop the knife edge of the left foot to the mat, and we're going to rise up into Warrior One. Hands can come to your hips for a moment or extend it up in space. So your heels can either be on, you can keep them on a balanced beam, so they're in one line from the front of the mat to the back, or you can open them up wider to hip bone distance. I prefer personally in Warrior One to open the heels up a little bit wider to hip bone distance. The back left foot can point directly to the side of the room, or you might angle it a little bit more forward. We're pressing off the back left leg, drawing that left hip forward in space, right hip pulling back, and then if your arms are not up yet, let's draw those arms up in space. You can feel this is a hybrid between that lunge position and that Warrior Two position. Keep the strength in your legs like we've talked about, supporting the right knee, toning through the legs, bringing them together, and then pressing down into that back left leg. On your exhale, drop your hands behind. Interlace your fingers at your knuckles. Inhale the knuckles down, shoulders squeeze, chest lifts up. And as you exhale, bow forward into Humble Warrior. Now, your right shoulder might rest onto your right thigh or hover up above it. Or you can guide it to the inside of the right thigh. We're letting those clasped hands open up overhead to the degree that they do, and then letting the weight of your head totally relax down, keeping that strength in your legs. You can press the heels of the palms closer together or have them open up wider. The wider they are, the more you'll find that the shoulders are able to open up a little bit here, hands are able to reach forward. Excellent, friends. So when you're ready, you're going to rise back up into that Warrior One. Breathe into it. And then on your exhale, bring the hands down to frame the right foot. And to come into a low lunge position, to turn onto the ball of the left foot. Bring your gaze up in space a little bit, and we're going to do a big step up to the right leg, bringing the arms and the left knee with us into a one-legged mountain. Now I'm going to turn now to face towards the front of you. So you got your right leg as your base. Your arms and your left knee are drawn up in space. Arms are nice and tall. Left knee's bent at 90, thigh bones plugging in towards the hips. Feel your big right toe rooting into the ground, and then let those arms open up. Focus your gaze on something that's not moving. Stay with your breath, and as I always say with balance, stay playful. You stay right here, or if you want to try a one-legged chair, figure four. We're going to cross that left ankle over the top of the right thigh, and then drop the sit bones back into space, just like we're going into chair. You can do one hand to knee, one hand to heel. You can also bring hands up into heart center. If there's any variations you want to take, please feel free to grab them. This is also a really nice hip opener. So the toes on the left foot are flexed into the shin. Left knee is gently flexing down towards the earth. We're staying with that breath. Toned up around that right leg. Toned up around that right knee. So from your one-legged chair, from your figure four, inhale to rise back up, one-legged mountain. And then to get to a low lunge position, you can do this in 2 moves or 1 move. So 2 moves, first high crescent lunge and then low lunge, or 1 move swimming all the way back into your low lunge position. Once you're in your low lunge position, just sweep and extend that right leg up and back, 3-legged down dog. On your exhale, you can go to down dog or shift forward to plank, lower halfway down. Inhale, upward facing dog, maybe low cobra. Exhale back into your down dog. Nice, friends. Inside of the down dog, as you're ready, we're going to lift and extend that left leg back up tall in space. Find your scorpion tail on this side. So let the toes drape down over the right as the knee lifts up tall. Draw your hips back and up. Keep that strength in your shoulders. Keep that strength in your back right leg. Breathe into it. On your exhale, foot up between your hands, low lunge. And then knife edge of the right foot to the ground and rise up into our warrior one. Again, make that choice. Are your heels on the balance beam or are your heels on railroad tracks? Is the back right foot pointing to the side of the room or is it angled a little more forward? Press down into legs. Draw that strength in from center. Right hip's pulling forward, left hip drawing back. Take your arms up. And when you're ready, on an exhale, swim the hands behind. Interlace the fingers at your knuckles. Inhale the knuckles down as the shoulders squeeze, chest lifts. And exhale to bow into your humble warrior. Left shoulder towards the inside of the left thigh. And again, you can hover up above your left thigh. Your shoulder can rest down onto it, or you bring it to the inside of it. Clasped arms are opening up overhead. Weight of the head is relaxed and released here. Find your breathing. Feel the strength of the legs supporting you, allowing the spine to bow forward. Allowing the weight of the head to relax, and allowing those arms to open up overhead, breathing into the shoulders. Find the end of the round of breath you're on. We inhale to come back up into warrior one, and then on that exhale, bring your hands down to frame your left foot, turn on the ball to the right. So again, your gaze comes slightly up, and we're going to take this big step up from that low lunge position to rise all the way up to our one-legged mountain, arms and right knee lifting. So as I come back to the front of the room, your left leg is your base. Arms and right knee drawing up in space. Thigh bone plugged into hips. You stay right here or your figure four, one-legged chair. Right ankle over top of left thigh. Sitting into it, maybe hands at heart or one hand to knee, one hand to heel. Find the strength in your left leg. Stay playful with your balance. Your breath is awesome for balancing. Feel into that hip opener. Let the right toes gently flex into the shin. Let the right knee gently flex down. Beautiful, friends. You're doing great. One more round of breath here. We'll rise back up to our one-legged mountain. And again, your choice, how do you want to get to low lunge? You can go to high crescent lunge first and then low lunge, or you can swim all the way back in one move to low lunge position. Once you land, we'll inhale that left leg back up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, shift forward, three-legged plank, or you can go right to down dog. Lower halfway down. Inhale, up dog, maybe you've got a low cobra. And on the exhale, shift back to our last down dog. Bring your air all the way down to empty. Take a big inhale, fill up, and then sigh it out. Let those knees come down to the ground. Swing your legs forward. We're going to do the rest of the class on our backs. So as you're ready, just bring yourself down to your back. If you need a drink of water, please feel free to grab a drink of water. Once you're down onto your back, knees are up in space, feet are flat to the floor. We're getting ready for bridge pose. Feet at hip bone distance, and then take your arms, reach them down along your sides, and step your heels towards you until your fingertips can touch against your heels. Beautiful. When you're ready, you start to draw your hips up off the ground. Shoulder blades might come in a little bit closer, and then press down into the elbows. Lift up. Feel grounded into all corners of your feet and relax the weight of the head. If your gaze is open and you're looking at your belly, you can see the rise and fall of the breath. Almost there, friends. Last couple rounds of breath. You're doing great. Take one more breath into it. And on the exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, release down to the ground. Leave your left foot to the floor. Slide your right ankle over the top of the left knee or thigh. This is figure 4 on your back, also known as reclined pigeon. And then you can leave the left foot to the ground if you want, right ankle over the top of the left thigh. Or bring the left foot off the ground, interlace your hands around the shin or the hamstring of the left leg. And then you'll draw your knee to your chest. You can put a little flexion of the right foot. Let the right knee flex forward. And just give yourself a gentle rock side to side here if you want as well. Weight the head, relaxed out. Staying with the breathing. Nice deep inhales. Nice long exhales. And then just extend your left leg all the way flat out in front of you. Take your hands around the top of the right shin and pull your right knee up towards your right shoulder. From there, left hand will grab onto the outside of the right knee and will pull the knee down over the left. Your body rolls onto the outside edge of the left hip. And then we're going to make a spinal twist where your right arm opens out to the right and then you twist your gaze to look out across your right fingertips. And I think about this like you're creating a plus sign in your body. The vertical line is from your left leg all the way up to the crown of the head. And then the horizontal line is your right thigh going over the left and your right arm going out over to the right. And again, gaze out over those fingertips and just stay with your breathing. Nice, bring it onto your back, just draw the knees into your chest, take a little rock out on the back. Then we're going to switch that out to the other side. I'm just going to turn the other way real quick. So now recline pigeon figure 4 for your left hip. Take the right foot down to the ground, cross your left ankle over the top of your right thigh. Leave the right foot to the ground if you want, or as the right foot lifts off the ground, interlace your hands around the shin or the hamstring of the right leg. Draw the knee to your chest. Weight of the head, relax out. Maybe some flexion in your left foot. Maybe left knee gently flexes forward. And you can stay still, but I love having that little rock side to side. Just another chance to, while we're doing this hip opener, rock out the low back, hips, and the sacrum. Find that breathing. Take the right leg, extend it flat out in front of you, and then take your hands around the top of the left shin and draw the left knee up towards your left shoulder. Right hand now grabs on the outside of the left knee, pulls the knee down over the right. Your body will roll onto the outside edge of the right hip. Open your left arm to the left and take your gaze out across your fingertips towards the left side of the room. Think about this twist is happening from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. And then when we're breathing inside of twists, it's one of the easiest places to feel the work of the breath in your body. The inhale has to work a little bit to get past the twist, to bring the air in. But then when your exhale comes, that's the payoff. Then your body releases deeper into it. So just focus on these last couple rounds of breath. Awesome. Come out of this one. Last little rock out on the back, knees to your chest. If you want a happy baby, this is a great time to do it. Peace sign fingers to big toes or hands to the edges of the feet. Knees open up wide. They're bent so that the soles of the feet are shining straight up in space. And then you're pulling gently down on the frame, bringing that low back into the mat or close to the mat. And then just giving a little rock side to side. And the head can just release out right here. Let the weight of it relax. Friends, I'm going to let you find your way into your Shavasana, your corpse posture. Essentially just making yourself comfortable, letting the weight of the legs just relax out in front of you, the arms release at your sides. I brought my guitar in, so just close through your eyes. Let the weight of the body just relax down to the ground. You can let go of controlling the breath at this point, so your body just gets to take back over on breathing. And as we create this physical stillness, you are inviting the mind and inviting the emotions into this deeper place of peace. So slowly start to bring some life back into your body. Just move your fingers, move into your toes, start to deepen your breath. Stretch and reach your arms all the way overhead behind you, back into our full morning stretch. Roll out your ankles, roll out your wrists. And then just turn onto your side into a fetal position. Curl up. You can use your lengthened arm as just a pillow for your head. And just feeling the weight of the body resting, the breath moving through the body. Taking your time. From your fetal position, bring yourself up to a cross-legged position or whatever you want to end your class with. And let's keep the eyes closed here. If you're on your sit bones, again, find the front edge of your sit bones. Pull the flesh away or walk back. From that base in the pelvis, we create length in the spine. Shoulder heads can roll down away from the ears and the back. On an inhale, just sweep the arms wide and tall. And on your exhale, bring your hands down into the heart center. Thumbs back against your sternum. Friends, it has been my pleasure to lead you through your yoga experience today. The light in me greets the light in you. Much love. Namaste.